It's interesting. Not everyone. There are some hardcore fans that disparage Return of the Jedi, and one of
Who would?
Are you one of them?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, because I
love Ewoks.
Let me give you my spiel on Return of the
Jedi.
Because Chloe just saw it for the first time and she loved it.
Can we let people know who Chloe is?
Chloe Dykstra?
Yeah.
Daughter of John Dykstra. Look that one up.
Okay.
She just saw...
huge geek girl.
Yeah.
Cool chick.
Yeah. And so she... and the reason it's significant to show her these movies is that her dad created ILM.
Right.
We were watching and I didn't know what her response to the Ewoks would be. And it was very, very positive.
Oh, that's good.
She felt it was a balancing factor to all the darkness in the film. And she also felt like, hey,
there's teddy bears.
The fairy tale aspect of this, of the insignificant little, the insignificant little creature that no one pays attention to is actually what you need to help you overcome the great evil.
Yeah.
It's the Yoda lesson.
Yeah.
It's the Yoda lesson from The Empire Strikes Back that Luke ignored, that he underestimated the little puppet.
Right.
And that ended up being the wisest man in the universe.
Right.
And what's wonderful about Return of the Jedi is that, if you look at the economy of that entire film in terms of where the characters go and what they do, it's really well drawn and they don't announce it. Most movies these days, if they're doing something smart, if Prometheus feels like they're doing something smart, they want to talk about it.
They're like, hey, look at this.
Have you read this book? And to prove that we read this book, we're going to put this little reference in there. We're going to do this, and we're so smart. Return of the Jedi never announces the fact that, because you go, well, why did Luke go to Endor? And you're like, well, I guess if it was made today, it would be to have a speeder bike chase and then leave.
Right.
No, he doesn't really do anything on Endor. He just shows up and then he leaves. But like, no, he doesn't. He shows up on Endor and watch Mark Hamill's performance when they meet the Ewoks. Because everyone else is going, yeah, what's going on here? Do I shoot him? What are we doing? Yeah. And Luke is going, I've seen this before. This is familiar to me.
Yeah.
And Han's like going to do stuff. And he's like, Han, give him your gun.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. And then they're even going to be cooked. And Luke's going, no, we're not going to be. This is going to work out. And then finally, by the end of it, when they're doing the whole
good point. You're right.
thing with the tribe, there's even there's a very smart little sequence of events where the Ewoks are all talking and Leia goes, what's going on? And Han goes, Han has no idea. And you cut to Luke and he knows what's going on. And he's like, that's why I was here, to apply the lesson I learned in the last film to here long enough for us to become friends with these guys. Now I have to go save my dad. And furthermore, the other thing about Return of the Jedi is let's talk about the saving of the dad thing. We're getting off. We're supposed to be talking about new Star Wars, but no.
We talk everything Star Wars.
This is why this movie is brilliant. The interest we have in Darth Vader is mostly because of Return of the Jedi. It's not because of The Empire Strikes Back.
Because of the switch at the right. Exactly.
We all think all that interesting character stuff happened in Empire Strikes Back, but it didn't for Vader. It happened in Return of the Jedi. And then when you watch Empire Strikes Back after Return of the Jedi, you see all these layers that you didn't see before. Right. You know what I mean? Jedi informs Empire in the same way that Empire informs Jedi.
That's a great point.
And that scene, it is too late for me, son. Yeah. You're just going, whoa. I remember Chloe wanted to pause. She's like, what? What
just happened?
Because she was not anticipating any of that. Right. She was like, and for George Lucas and these crazy filmmakers to be like, okay, so, okay, here's a story meeting. They're like, okay, so George, the last movie.
It's a great imitation.
Yeah. In the last movie, I'll be Lawrence Kasdan. Okay, so George, in the last movie, we made this, and it was about how you need to respect your elders, right? Yeah, and he didn't respect his elders, and Yoda tried to tell him what to do, and he didn't, and then he tried to save his friends, and his friends had to save him. Yeah, okay, so this one he's going to respect his elders in this next movie, right? No, he's going to reject his elders. Be like, what? But that's against the lesson of the last movie. He's like, no, but Luke's a man now, and his elders are telling him to go kill his father. And they're saying over and over again that that's the only way to win is we have to kill Darth Vader. And Luke is going to refuse to do that. And by that, that's how he's going to prove that he is the one true Jedi. And you're just like, that is, Hollywood wouldn't do that these days. Right. Hollywood would just have him go, fight, and win. And that's
Michael
the end.
Bay's Star Wars.
There would be big explosions. But that movie, we're going to take Darth. Why would he save his father, George? I don't understand. Because we're going to take Darth Vader and make him into a sympathetic character.
It's also more trust in being able to create a world.
Yeah.
Now everything is based off of what's something someone else has already created, and how
riff
can
on
we
that.
jump off of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they're doing so well with this, is the fact that, yes, it is the Star Wars universe and we all know about it, but they're changing stuff where it's like, even the fact that now it's called the First Order and it's the Resistance and there's 7 different kinds of stormtroopers now. It's
that's
crazy.
the thing. Is so long as they're trying to invent new things, then we're in good shape. Because, again, Return of the Jedi everyone says, it's just a retread of A New Hope. And you're like, no, it's really not. They took the best villain in cinema history at the time, the most famous villain, Darth Vader, and made him a good guy. And then they were like, and we're going to top Darth Vader by creating this new character called the Emperor, who we've heard about, we've never seen. And that worked. So, I think the only valid excuses criticisms, excuses, the valid criticisms you could level at Return of the Jedi are that you could say there's an execution issue with the Ewoks, but there was plenty of people that will disagree with you. I think, I think you can legitimately say they underutilized Han Solo, but that was because they didn't think he was going to do the movie.
Right.
And they had to write him in the last minute. Yeah. So not bad for the scrambling at the last minute.
Yeah.
And if, and then the other criticism is reuse of the Death Star. But, again, for plot sense, the Emperor had disbanded the Senate, and it was all based on having a Death Star.
Yeah.
And the moment he disbanded the Senate, the Death Star got destroyed. You can imagine the rebellion gained tons of support at that point. Right. And the Emperor's like, dude, we created policy on having a Death Star. We need a Death Star. Right. Make one fast. Yeah. And that's part of the plot, is they're trying to build this thing as fast as they can. And
I think people get caught up with the Ewoks thing because we've heard the rumors for many years that it was supposed to be Wookiees. And we had, so when you love that section of character, you want to see what the origin of Chewie would be. Are we going to that planet? Are we going to see other Chewbacca's? Are we going to see other Wookiees and see what that would have been like?
But we saw the holiday special, and we're totally aware. So we already went
Which
there.
made us believe that we didn't need to go back to that planet ever again.
Lucas is crafty.
The thing is that, here's something that I always argue against, is like, everyone wants Star Wars to be badass. And it's like, it can't always be badass. Mm-hmm. It's going to get stale if it's bad. You said Michael Bay makes a lot of badass scenes. But the thing with the Michael Bay movie is that all of the scenes are badass. And if there's
it loses the value.
Right. If there's no humor or things to play against that, I like the Ewoks for the fact that they are a great balance against scenes where Luke stands up to the Emperor and says, "Soon I'll be dead, and you with me." And you're like, this isn't the farm boy that we grew up with. This is
the progression.
This guy is on a suicide mission because at this point he hasn't figured out what he's going to do yet. And he doesn't think his father can be saved at this point. This is grim. Yeah. And the Emperor is trying to get him to kill his dad, and they're all trying to provoke him into madness and anger. And you're just like, look, without the Ewoks, this is a pretty dark film. Right.